Moving on to number 9 now, we have Joshua's room. A pair of house hunters in America were seriously disturbed by what they found in the basement of one house they were looking at. There were strange lookout holes in the stairs coming from the basement below. When they went down to the basement, they found graffiti written for what seemed to be a little boy called Joshua. The walls were covered with messages like, "Josh, stop reading this and go to bed. Mom." Another read, "Josh's rules. 1. No watching Isaiah through the hole, and 2. No writing or drawing on the walls." Another simply said, "Don't climb into my room, Isaiah." But for me, the most creepy one was, "Stop watching me." Who were Joshua and Isaiah? Why were they living in the basement, and who was watching them? People still discuss this story even today. At number 8 now, we have the gargoyle. In 2014, IMG user Hickensource shared their discovery of a secret room in their house. They said they were walking around their house one day when they noticed a window for a room they didn't even know existed. It looked like a cellar. Inside there was a workbench fastened to the wall. Then he found a wall panel cut, which he peeled back to reveal a door behind the workbench. Through that door laid a creepy looking room filled with junk. There were newspapers from the 1970s, old playing cards, a strange looking machine, and perhaps creepiest of all, an old gargoyle surrounded by broken bits of wood. Gargoyles are pretty creepy, even on a good day. Extra creepy when you find them in a secret room under your house. No thanks. At number 7 now, we have the squatter. This one comes from IMG user 2Byte Brownie, who shared pictures of a creepy discovery in his house. He said he and his younger brother were playing around one day when one of them fell into a bookcase. It moved, revealing a hidden room behind it. They found a black staircase that spiraled downwards. By this point, they were already very freaked out. About halfway down, they found a crawl space, and to their absolute horror, it looked like someone had been living there. There was a makeshift bed covered in their own Halloween candy. They realized that whoever was living there must have crawled into their bedroom when they weren't there to steal candy from them before retreating back to their hiding spot behind the bookshelf. I think at that point I'd either be running out the front door or just jumping straight out the window. Moving on to number 6 now, we have black mold. Jason and Kerry Brown were a couple from South Carolina who were renovating their new home in 2005. They began to remove some bookcases in one of the bedrooms when they discovered a hidden passageway that led to a hidden room. Nervously, they walked down the dark corridor, and there, in the very small room at the end, they found a mysterious note from the previous owner. It read, "You found it. Hello. If you're reading this, then you found the secret room. I owned this house for a short while, and it was discovered to have a serious mold problem, one that actually made my children very sick to the point we had to move out." Kerry Ann Johnson were naturally very shocked by this. They eventually made contact with the previous owner, who went into more detail about that situation. After some tests on the house, they found that it was true. The house had levels of black mold 4 to 5 times higher than the outside, potentially dangerous for young children. It seems that the house broker may have hid this information when selling them the house. Perhaps they should be thankful to the stranger and their slightly creepy note. Moving on to number 5 now, we have bad stomach. In 2013, some Norwegian students said their landlord told them there was a secret room somewhere in their house, but not where it was. That's creepy enough, but they actually found it and they took these pictures. One of them said it took them a long time to discover it, and said that it was actually found by accident when one of them was in the attic and just kind of stretched out. Suddenly, the wall behind them moved. Behind it, they found a tiny area filled with items from World War II. There was a mysterious sign that read, "If you have a bad stomach, you do not have access." There was also an alarm made of a single light bulb, an old map of Europe, and perhaps the most creepy object of all, a single white doll shoe. It was all quite a mystery until they were visited by some local historians who saw the post online. It turns out the room was used to secretly make newspapers during the Nazi occupation in World War II. Although they tried, the Nazis never actually found that room. All they needed to do was just stretch and push the wall. Simple. Next up at number 4 now, we have the crawl space. This one is a very small room. Very small indeed. Only enough room to crawl in. It was discovered in 2014 by Reddit user Lumberjack. He posted a picture to Reddit and what he discovered so far in it. The crawl space contained a strange looking locked door. Now through that door there was a room where the walls, floor and ceiling were totally covered in soundproofing boards and a plastic tarp. There were also 4 power outlets outlets and a small area that looked like a raised single bed. The creepiest part was yet to come though. He found a briefcase. Inside that was an old jewelry box, envelopes with currency from all over the world, and 4 1-ounce silver ingots. There was also a safe containing some old tapes. He couldn't play them though, and so decided to hand everything over to the police at that point. They refused to reveal the results of their investigation, sparking fierce debate about what this creepy room was all about. My guess is spies. It's gotta be spies. What do you guys think? At number 3 now we have The Stranger. This is another squatter story. In 2013, Brett Muglin and Mark Hartman moved into their new off-campus house for their senior year at Ohio State University. After a few days in their new home, they woke one morning and found every door in their house had been opened. Everything. Room doors, the dishwasher door, the fridge dryer, washing machine, oven and microwave, all of them had their doors open. At first they thought it was just a college prank, but one day they heard noises coming from downstairs. They grabbed a baseball bat and a knife and went to investigate. When they reached the basement, they found a locked door no one had a key to, and there were sounds coming from inside. A few days later, one of their friends who was visiting said that they had met their new housemate Jeremy in the basement. Brett and Mark just froze and said, "We don't have a housemate called Jeremy." At that point, they called the landlord and the police, who went straight to that mysterious door. They prized open the door to find a secret room that a man had been living in the whole time they were there. There were pictures of him with his friends and family by the bed. The bed itself was unmade and there were books everywhere. The room even included a toilet and a bathroom. He had been using a secret side door to sneak in and out of the house. It turns out the man's cousin had lived in the house the year before, and when they all left, he just set up in this secret basement room. I wonder how long he was planning on staying for. Next up at number 2 now we have The Last Supper. In Hanny's restaurant and bar there is a secret room you can visit if you know where to look. You may not want to though. Deep in this basement in Arizona you can find these dolls on display. At first it looks like they've been randomly placed, but on closer inspection the dolls seem to be set up to mimic the famous painting of The Last Supper. I presume the doll in the middle is meant to be Jesus. Either way, it's a very creepy sight to see, even if you are expecting it. If you just stumbled across it while you're looking for the bathroom, well, it's probably a good job you're already on the way to the toilet. Starting off at number 10 now, we have Lucifer. Reddit user I Stole Your Face 1789 said that when they went to high school, it was a building that was hundreds of years old. One day, he and his friends noticed a hatch that was about 6 feet off the floor next to the toilet. During a drama lesson, not long after, they snuck out and climbed through that hatch. There was a small corridor beneath the actual corridor that they had to crawl through to get there. Through the vents, they could see other classrooms with the students learning inside. They squeezed through a gap in the wall and ended up in a large room that was much colder than where they come from. They used their phones for light but couldn't even light up the other side of the room. Also, something smelled really bad. That's when they saw the body of what looked like a decomposed cat, just some fur and bones by the wall. Even more scary though was the weird stone arch just above the cat that had writing on it. It said, "If you are found here, the school will expel you, but Lucifer shall do much worse." There were a few scratches on the wall next to the writing and also some strange demonic symbols they couldn't make out. They took some pictures and made their escape. They vowed to never tell anyone else at the school for fear of expulsion, but also for fear of the devil himself. Moving on to number 9 now, we have the Pyramid Room. In 2016, scientists used advanced techniques to scan the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. Despite it being 4,500 years old and it being studied by archaeologists for over a century, they found a couple of hidden rooms. Because of how old the pyramids are, the experts couldn't climb directly into the chambers, which were also very small. Even today, they still haven't been able to get inside these rooms, which are believed to hold artifacts and furniture for use in the afterlife by the pharaoh who was buried there. Some people say these rooms were kept hidden and inaccessible for a reason, and that opening them up will unleash a curse on the intruders, as it did when Howard Carter opened Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. At number 8 now, we have the Winchester Mystery House. This is a huge mansion built in San Jose, California by Sarah Winchester, widow of the Winchester fortune's heir. It took 30 years to complete, from 1884 to 1922. The Winchester family were the ones who made the famous Winchester guns. Some people say that Sarah was scared of being haunted by all the people who had been killed by the hands of a Winchester gun over the years, and so she decorated the mansion in strange ways to confuse the ghosts. By the time she died, the house had 160 rooms, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 47 fireplaces, and even a few spy holes. In 2016, years after she died, everyone was shocked to hear that a secret room had been discovered. Sarah had boarded it up after an earthquake in 1906, and some say it became associated with evil spirits. The room was filled with strange, dusty objects, including a pump organ, a Victorian couch, sewing machines, and paintings. Staff said they already knew about the room and that it was actually a shooting gallery that they had installed. Some conspiracy theorists said this was a lie though, and that they were trying to cover up the creepy discoveries in this long forgotten room. At number 5 now, we have the Parisian apartment. In 1940, a woman called Mr. Florian fled Paris as the Nazis arrived during World War II. She packed only what she needed before heading to the south of France. She never came back. She lived out the rest of her life there, but strangely she continued to pay rent on her apartment back in Paris as it gathered dust for more than 7 decades. When she died aged 91, her family found the apartment mentioned in her finances. They made the journey to Paris, and when they opened it, they were shocked. It was frozen in time. The whole thing was filled with all of her strange collections, early Mickey Mouse toys, stuffed ostriches, erotic paintings, one of which went on to sell for 2.1 million euros. It appears that Miss Florian did not want the apartment to be discovered and hoped the room would be left frozen in time. At number 4 now, we have the chapel. In 2010, Pa and Diane Fowler found a strange metal grid in their old Victorian home in England. They pulled it away to reveal a strange cellar which they never knew existed. After lighting up the darkness, it appeared the cellar was actually a chapel. In the center of the room was a wooden cross which appeared to have fallen down and was now rotting away. An expert reviewed the room and said it was probably used as a Catholic hideaway from religious persecution sometime during the 1700s. The family said that after they discovered the basement, they went back upstairs to take some pictures. They took a picture of one family member, Karen, who was pregnant. When the pictures came out, there was something white on the photo by her belly. The family thinks it's the orb of a ghost that had been released when they opened up this hidden chapel. Next up at number 3 now, we have computers. This story comes from Reddit user Jeffrey Goldberg. He said that in 2006 he went to a school that was built sometime in the 1800s. He said it was a big old building that stood 4 stories high. There were a lot of staircases there, and in one corner of the building was a staircase that nobody had ever used. During his senior year, Jeffrey and his friend were wandering the hallways when they decided to use this unused staircase. They noticed that it spiraled down below. They followed it and went along a hallway and then found a door that was slightly cracked open. They stepped inside to find a large room filled with cubicles and dozens of employees on computers. None of the people on the computers were school staff. They were shocked and confused. They quickly turned around and left. They tried to return a few times later, but the door was always locked. To this day, they don't know what the room was for and who those people were. Do you guys have any theories? Next up, number 2 now, we have the attic wall. In October 2017, a man from Florida uploaded a video of him finding a hidden room behind an attic wall in what he described as the weirdest thing he'd ever seen. He was changing the air conditioning system when he discovered this tiny room in the attic of the house. It was covered in red carpet and even had its own ventilation system. There were 2 license plates on the wall along with a men's room sign. There were also a few empty pizza boxes just to add to the mystery of it all. It got even weirder when he found a makeshift toilet that the occupant would use to pee. The man said he had never seen anything like it in his life. Many people online began wondering who or what would design such a comfortable space equipped with its own toilet. What were they hiding from? Do they still live there perhaps? The discovery produced far more questions than answers. Finally, at number 1 now, we have the painting. Reddit user Acer1 said that he once met a college girl at a defunct frat house in Wisconsin. They had lost their charter for some reason. He was about to find out why. The pair fell for each other and he moved into the place with her. Things were fine at first, but then one night when they were drunk, she took him up to a room that was empty. He hadn't seen it before. It had 2 bunk beds, and above one bed there was a secret hatch. They went through to an upstairs room where most of the hazing rituals had taken place. Then she told him the story. She said that one night in the dead of winter, a girl was sexually assaulted by a group of frat boys there. They left her up there in the cold and she ended up dying from hypothermia. One of the boys was supposedly so distraught that he went up there the next day and painted her picture on the wall, and then he hung himself. While they were up there, he said he swore that the eyes on the picture of the girl would follow him around the room. There were also reports of crying coming from the attic on cold winter nights. He said he never went up there again.
Number 10 on our list, let me give you guys some background information on this haunted house. The Riddle House is located in Palm Beach County in Florida. The house used to be a funeral parlor, so I'm sure a lot of creepy things went down inside of this house. But that's not even the scary part. One of the former employees committed suicide by hanging himself in the attic. And according to all of the reports, anytime a man steps foot in the attic, his spirits will attack them. One man had an object thrown at his head, so now men are no longer allowed to go inside of the attic. I mean, I wouldn't want to step foot inside of that attic anyway, so you know what, whatever. If that wasn't enough, legend has it that the entire house is haunted, and if you go inside of it, a spirit might follow you home and haunt your house as well. I mean, yeah, no thanks, I don't want to be haunted, I don't want my house to be haunted. I want to go to my home and just be curse free and be ghost free as well. The Queen Mary sails onto our list at number 9. The Queen Mary has been voted one of the most haunted places in America, and this is by Time magazine. And after doing my research, it's easy to see why. There are countless stories of many areas of the ship that are haunted with ghosts. Visitors claim that the engine room is haunted by the ghost of a crew member who was crushed to death by a watertight door. The swimming pool is also a highly talked about area as well. People say that they can see spirits at the bottom of the pool and they are just waiting to pull someone under the water and drown them to death. If that wasn't enough, you can go on a paranormal tours of the ship, but be warned, there is a curse. It is said that each year during one of these tours, at least one guest will break a bone while on board. At number 7. This hotel was built in 1888 by the Canadian Pacific Railway. Despite its picturesque view, this hotel is plagued with angry spirits that will make your night a living hell. Some of the strange things that happened here was when a family was brutally murdered in room 873. A bride died while falling down the hotel's marble staircase, and a retired bellman apparently still haunts this hotel even to this day. But the fun doesn't stop there. The hotel has a room that is known as the Phantom Room. There was an error in the building plans which resulted in this extra room being built. It doesn't have any windows and no one knew that it existed except for the builders. But years later, during a renovation, the room is discovered and it was converted into a working room. But apparently this room is cursed. It is full of unusual sounds, strange shadows, and you will feel extremely uneasy if you go inside. Leap Castle brings us to number 6. This is probably one of Ireland's most haunted destinations due to its dark history. One of the most gruesome murders that took place in the castle occurred in 1532 in a room that is known as the Bloody Chapel. A priest was murdered in this room in front of his entire family. The castle is now rumored to be haunted by a ton of spirits, including a violent hunched beast known as Elemental. If you find yourself inside of this castle, you'll know that he is near because you can smell rotting flesh and sulfur, and when the castle was being renovated, workers found a dungeon that is only accessible through the ceiling hatch. I mean, how weird is that? It is believed that prisoners were thrown inside, forgotten, and left there to die. The dungeon also has a bunch of human remains and was full of spikes that were used to impale the prisoners who were thrown there to their death. Sounds like a great tourist destination, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Flight 191 takes us to number 5. We're now talking about a cursed airplane number. If you ever find yourself booking a trip, pay close attention to your flight number. Is it flight 191? You might want to consider changing your flight, and I'll tell you why. This flight has a higher than normal amount of crashes. There has been 4 commercial flights with this flight number, and they have all crashed. Another flight had an incident on board that caused the plane to divert from the flight plan. On an American Airlines flight, the plane crashed shortly after taking off in Chicago, and it killed 273 people on board. A Delta Airlines flight crashed while landing, and it killed 137 people, and a Comair flight crashed on takeoff, killing 49 people. There are a bunch of other airlines with flight numbers 191 that crashed, but I think you get the point. The San Fernando Cathedral, San Antonio, Texas jumps onto our list at number 4. We have another cursed cathedral on this list. This church was built in 1868 and it is thought to be the oldest church in Texas. Well, according to the local report, this church is plagued with angry spirits and demonic forces. People have seen hooded ghosts ghosts in monks' clothing roaming the halls on a regular basis. Or they'll also see a man dressed in black who stalks you as you explore the church. And yes, the church is still open for business, so if you're brave enough, you can attend a service. That's if you dare. I don't dare. Personally, I'm not really that big into angry spirits following me around, but that might just be me. Number 3, we have King Tut's tomb. When this tomb was discovered on November 26, 1922, people believe that the pharaoh unleashed a powerful curse of death and destruction upon those who entered his tomb. I'd be pretty pissed too if I was untouched for 3,000 years and then all of a sudden there are a ton of people entering my tomb with tools and some lights. But let's explore this curse even further. The man who paid for the excavation of King Tut's tomb was the first one to be hit with the curse. While shaving, he accidentally tore open a mosquito bite, which caused him to die due to blood poisoning. The archaeologist who discovered the tomb gave his friend a paperweight as a gift. The paperweight was made out of a mummified hand, and it had some weird thing inscribed onto it. Well, after receiving this weird gift, his house burned down, and when he tried to rebuild it, it was hit with a massive flood. A man who visited the tomb became extremely ill, and he never really recovered. He died of pneumonia a few months later. There are a bunch of other unfortunate people who have mysteriously died after visiting this tomb, so I know one thing that is for certain. You'll never see me around this tomb. I'll be much more comfortable watching the footage on YouTube or something like that, or maybe just googling an image of what the guy looks like. Moving up on this list, number 2, we have the 600 rooms in the Cecil Hotel. You're probably really familiar with this hotel due to its dark history. It's said that all 600 rooms of the Cecil Hotel are cursed due to the murders, maniacs, and ghosts that roam inside. A bunch of serial killers used to call this hotel their home, maybe because they all felt a strange affinity to it. And over the years, a lot of guests have mysteriously died without any reasonable explanations. One of the most mysterious deaths was Alyssa Lamb. Her body was found 2 weeks after her death when people were complaining about the water tasting weird. Her body was decomposing in the rooftop water tanks for weeks. The discovery of her body led investigators to watch the surveillance footage. They saw Alyssa go onto the elevator alone, then look outside the door several times. She left the elevator and it looked like she was having a conversation with someone who wasn't really there. And that was the last time she was seen alive. And finally, number 1, we have the Warren Occult Museum. If you know what's good for you, you'll never visit this museum, although I'm a little bit curious, but I would be pretty terrified inside of it. It is full of items that Ed and Lorraine Warren have collected over the years from their paranormal investigations. One of the most cursed items that sits inside of these walls is the Annabelle doll. I mean, everyone knows by now. She was responsible for at least one death when a young man came into the museum and challenged the doll to do its worst, and guess what? It did. Another cursed item at the museum is the shadow doll. This doll is said to be able to visit you in your dreams, and she has the ability to stop your heart. I mean, yeah, no thanks. And you know what? My curiosity is over. I no longer want to go visit this museum.
Starting off this countdown, we have the comforters. So when you stay at a hotel, you expect your room to be nicely made up, right? Clean sheets, fresh towels, and blankets. Well, that's not always the case. One of the dirtiest things in a hotel room is the comforters. They never wash them. That's right. Imagine how much work that would be to wash thousands of heavy comforters that take up so much room in the washer. So instead, they just don't wash them. Meanwhile, they are being used by hundreds of people, and who knows what they do on them. Seriously, it's disgusting. Also, those little extra blankets the hotel has, yeah, those are never washed as well. Whatever you do, don't look at those under a black light. You will be scarred forever by the amounts of fluids and stains on them. I swear, you're better off bringing your own bedding with you next time you go to a hotel.
Coming in at number 9, we have infestation. There is a certain level of pests that every hotel is allowed to have, which makes sense. You can't let one ant shut down an entire hotel. Well, sometimes this can get out of control, and that doesn't mean the hotel is going to call the health inspector to get everything sorted out. They're going to try and deal with the problem in secret before anyone discovers their dirty little secret. And that is what happened to Redditor CSS Wizardry. He was staying in a hotel, and when he got to his room, something was very strange about the floor. seemed like it was constantly moving, like the floor was alive. Now he had just come in from a long plane ride and the extreme heat, so he assumed the reason that he was seeing this was because he was a little dehydrated. He tried to relax and drink some water and see if the strange effect would go away, but after some time he looked back at the ground and lo and behold, the ground was still dancing around. Turns out there was bugs all over the ground, so many that it made it look like the floor was alive.
In our 8th spot, we have the hotel glasses. Maybe you arrive at your hotel after a long day of traveling and all you want is a nice cold glass of water. But I must warn you, never use the bathroom glasses for a drink. Why? Well, first off, undercover cameras at hotel revealed that maids often don't wash them out with soap before the next guest arrives. If they look clean, then they are clean, even if they aren't. Not only that, some hotels clean the water glasses with furniture polish to make them look extra clean and shiny. Drinking furniture polish residue can't be too good for your health. So you're either getting really dirty, unclean glasses or shiny, toxic glasses. You pick.
Coming in at number 7, we have pillowcases don't get changed. Apparently this is a little trick of the trade. One way hotels will cut down on cost is by doing an eyeball over the pillowcase and seeing if it's dirty. If it doesn't look physically dirty, well, it's good for another round of guests. So the dude who is just sleeping on your pillow with eczema on his face and acne on his scalp, well, those hot wet juices are now soaked into the pillowcase and they're about to be soaked right into your face. Yum. Apparently this is something that hotels do because most people don't use all the pillows and this saves money and time. The cleaners have less work to do by replacing all the pillowcases so they can get in and out of rooms faster. And they have less laundry to do at the end of the day. This makes everything more productive at the cost of your face skin. On top of this, this really cuts down on the amount of pillowcases they have to buy, because I don't know if you know this, but nothing does more wear and tear on your clothing and bedding than the washing and drying process. So before you lay down in your next hotel room, check to see if there's any leftover scabs on the pillowcases.
Making our way down the list, number 6, we have the dirty sheets. I'm telling you, I'm never going to stay the night at a hotel ever again. I am so grossed out, and it only gets worse. So hotel workers have been exposing some of their dirty little secrets on an app called Whisper. This app is meant for you to confess your secrets anonymously, and some of the things the hotel workers revealed were very disturbing. So one person revealed why you should always be polite to the hotel staff, because at their hotel, when people are rude or disrespectful to them, they change their sheets with dirty ones from another person's room. Ugh, yikes. So when you're out thinking that the maids are cleaning your room, nope, not at all. They're making sure you're getting a good night's sleep on someone else's dirty, stained, sweated on sheets.
Coming in at number 5, we have workers have the safe code. Make sure you leave all of your passports and everything worth something to you in the safe. No one will be able to get it, and you don't need to worry about any of your stuff getting stolen. Well, what if you forgot the password? You think that stuff is just gone forever and the hotel will have to buy a new safe? No, not at all. Most hotel safes have a master code that anyone can put in at any time. Sometimes it's something as simple as 000 pound. Now you hope that only the higher level hotel staff have access to these things, but the truth is that word normally gets around and several of the people who come into your room to clean it or make sure that everything is working properly have the password to your safe. So maybe hide your prized possessions in a more clever place than the most obvious place in the room.
In our 4th spot, we have bed bugs. One thing you should always, and I mean always, do before unpacking is to check the bed for bed bugs. Untuck the sheets and inspect that mattress. Why? Well, hotels have had very bad bed bug problems. Someone could easily bring these bugs with them, and during their stay, the bed bugs get settled into the hotel bed. Then when you stay there, they will be biting your legs at night. They can even get into your bag and come home with you and infest your house. And it takes thousands of dollars to get rid of a bed bug infestation. So watch out. Too many hotels have had a bed bug problem. Some of them even ignore it to save money.
Coming in at number 3, we have sometimes things get skipped. Not everything in your hotel room is going to be clean. Sometimes things are just not going to see any sort of sanitation. The biggest things are things that get used all the time, but you don't really think about cleaning in your own home. Things like remote controls, light switches, and lamps. Now, do those really need to be cleaned? Well, when thousands of people have touched them before you, it would be nice if they saw a little soap and water. But sometimes big things get skipped over. This happened to Redditor Professional Intern. This person person was staying in a hotel, they laid down their luggage, and then they were ready to step into the bathroom and have a nice shower. Little did they know they were in for a big surprise. The whole bathroom was covered in pubes. They said there was so many pubes, it seemed like it was a practical joke. You would expect the bathroom to be clean when you come to stay in a hotel room, but I guess this place had a different policy.
Coming in at number 2, we have the hidden cameras. No, hotel staff have not installed hidden cameras in your room. It's actually worse than that. Creeps have been going around installing undetectable cameras in hotel rooms. They then watch your every move, or they stream you online for others to watch. It's disgusting. In 2019, there were a bunch of news stories about travelers finding hidden cameras in their hotel rooms. Typically, these cameras are super small. Like, they can fit inside the cross of a Phillips screw head. That's how small they are. These cameras get placed on smoke detectors, alarm clocks, and even shampoo bottles. In South Korea, a crime ring was busted after secretly filming and live streaming over 1,600 hotel guests. It's so creepy and a total invasion of privacy. And since the cameras are so small, they could be anywhere in your hotel room.
And coming into the number 1 spot, we have sleeping in a dead man's bed. When you have thousands of people coming in and out of your hotel every year, some of them are old, some of them have health problems, and some of them are just unlucky. The thing is, someone is going to die. Maybe they will die in the tub, maybe they will die in that one chair that every hotel room has. Maybe it will be in the bed. But the scary thing is, once this does happen, the room will be closed down for a short time. Literally, a sanitation crew will come in, remove the body, the cops will come through and check to see if it is a homicide, and the cleaners will come through and do a quick flip on the room, and then it's back on the market, baby. So in less than 24 hours, you could have a room that someone just died in, flipped and ready for the next guest. So next time you stay in a hotel and ask for an upgrade and they tell you, oh, a room just opened up, maybe you should ask them why the room opened up.
Starting off this countdown, we have the snakes. Imagine laying in bed and all of a sudden feeling something scaly slithering up your leg. Again, I wish I was joking. But finding a snake in hotels or hotel rooms is actually quite common in warm places, especially Florida. Snakes have been known to wander into resorts and then slither into guests' bags or find their way upstairs. Nothing is worse than going to unpack and finding a snake in your bag. Actually, I lied. What's worse is waking up to a snake in your bed beside you. That happened to one guest in Florida. The snake somehow got into her room and then got into her bed while she was asleep. Thankfully, the snake wasn't poisonous. But still, no one wants things like that to happen to them. Coming in at number 9, we have the dirty movies. So at some hotels, you have limited TV channels. But one thing that you will always have is the adult movie section. Now, none of those are provided for free, so if you wish to watch an explicit movie, you'll have to pay for it. And you may think that it's just your dirty little secret, but no, it's not. The hotel staff know who orders what and when, so they know exactly what you're doing upstairs in your room. Awkward. Moving on, at number 8, we have the crimes. So if you're staying at a hotel, you might think you're completely safe. I mean, you're in a locked room, the hotel is monitored by security, and they have a bunch of cameras monitoring the hallways. But are you really safe? Well, a study revealed that robbery and assault are pretty common crimes that take place in hotels. People that are traveling often have a large sum of cash on them, making them easy targets. In fact, there have been a number of cases of people wandering into hotels and then breaking into hotel rooms and robbing the place. According to the Seattle Times, a statement released by police officials states, and I quote, "More and more guests are being physically threatened in or near their rooms, or worse, attacked or killed." That's super scary to think about. That's the last thing you want to think about while being on your vacation. In our 7th spot, we have the bargain hunters. When you go on vacation, you want the best deals possible. You want to spend the least amount of money, but still want an amazing experience. As a result, you may use third-party websites to get a hotel room at a discounted price. Hotel Trivago. But maybe this isn't the best idea. You may save money on the room, but you'll pay later on in other ways. A number of hotels revealed that those that book through third-party sites may not get a 5-star experience. Since those guests are paying less, they are often given the crappiest rooms in the hotel, they may not get fresh towels every day, and maids probably won't do a deep clean of your room. Well, they don't anyway, but still. Why? Well, they are making less money on those stays, so why would they put the time of day into those guests? They are more committed to pleasing the loyal customers. In our sixth spot, we have the personal items. Former hotel staffs have warned guests to never leave any of their personal hygiene items out, like beauty products or their toothbrush. They shared stories of times where annoyed housekeepers would use guests' toothbrushes to clean the toilets. Okay, now I have trust issues. I swear, I'd rather camp outside than stay in a hotel room now. Another employee admitted on the Whisper app that they frequently use guests' stuff. Basically, this app is a way to confess your secrets anonymously, and the hotel industry had a lot to say. So she admitted that she would test out guests' hair products or skin products. So now it's said to never leave any personal items out on display. It's safer to keep them in your bag when you know housekeeping is going to be in your room. We are now at our fifth and halfway mark with the thieves. Maybe you're staying at a really nice hotel with soft, comfy robes and plush towels, and you think to yourself, they won't notice if I take a couple of things. Chances are they will notice. Some hotels have started using radio frequency identification technology to prevent theft. Basically, hotels have embedded small chips into certain items to track them. These items are embedded into towels, robes, and linen to prevent them from being stolen. And they are alerted once the item leaves the property, so they will know if you're stealing from them. I mean, putting trackers in towels does seem extra, but hotels lose thousands of dollars every year just from stolen items. So think twice before you nab a couple of towels to take home as a souvenir. In our fourth spot, we have the minibar. One of the things that was drilled into my head as a kid is to never take anything from the hotel's minibar. For starters, they're so expensive. Like, who's trying to pay $20 for a mini bottle of Fiji water? Not me. Because of the high prices, some guests will try to be sneaky. Hotel staff have revealed that some guests will take the drinks and then, to avoid paying for them, will refill the bottles with water or even urine. Yeah, that happens more often than you think. The hotel staff recommend that you check the seals on all bottles in the mini fridge, so you don't get charged for another guest's fun. Moving on, at number 3, we have the ice bucket. Since you're staying in a room where thousands of others have stayed before you, you gotta be careful. Who knows what those guests were doing in the room before you got there? Hotel staff have found vomit, urine, and feces in ice buckets and coffee makers before. I know, it's disgusting. So either avoid those items completely or scrub the crap out of them, literally, before you decide to use them. In our second spot, we have the room service. Room service is super convenient. Maybe you just had a long flight and are jet lagged and you just want to stay in bed all day. With a click of a button, you can have meals delivered right to your door. But this secret reveals the reason why you shouldn't order room service. So again, this secret was exposed on the app Whisper. One hotel worker admitted that at her work, none of the workers ever buy lunch. Instead, whenever someone orders food to their room, they all just carefully pick the meal before sending it up. Yeah, so whenever you get a fresh meal, it may just be that multiple people have been digging their fingers into it before you. Another worker at a different hotel revealed that if a guest isn't the nicest to them, then they will spit or tamper with their food before sending it up. Messing around with another man's food is no joking matter. Not cool, guys. Not cool. And in our number 1 spot, we have the hotel room corpse. So around 1991, there was a famous urban legend about a couple vacationing in Las Vegas who found a dead body under their hotel bed. Well, turns out that this has happened to multiple people across the world. All of these individuals started to notice a weird odor emerging from under their bed. When they inspected, they found a dead body. In 1999, a couple was vacationing in Atlantic City when they discovered they were sleeping on a mattress that contained a body. In 2010, a couple in Memphis found the body of a missing person, Sonny Millbrook, under their bed. They also found fabric softener sheets shoved in the ceiling tiles to try and hide the smell. Gross. I mean, it's already weird sleeping on a mattress that thousands of others have slept on, but sleeping over a dead body? That's disgusting. Maybe you should always inspect your hotel rooms before you decide to spend the night there.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have this apartment attic. This TikTok tells an incredibly interesting but horrifying story. The TikToker Sasha Jones had a series of videos blow up as she told a story about her childhood home that she lived in with her family for 10 years. While living in this home, she explained that she had frequent bouts of sleep paralysis and night terrors, as well as sleepwalking. Any fans of all things creepy know that this probably isn't a good sign. Sasha explains that at one point she went on a week-long trip to LA, but when she returned home, her mom sat her down to tell her that they were suddenly going to be moving out in 2 weeks. As it turns out, Sasha's mom revealed to her that while she was away on her trip, the family had found an attic that was hidden away in the closet that had not been disclosed in the lease. Basically, the attic was only accessible by one little square and it was super heavy. Apparently, when Sasha's mom sent her brother up there to check it out, he saw a bed, a dresser, some sheets, and a pair of shoes. And while everything was covered in dust, there was a set of footprints to her room and then back to the bed. I think it absolutely makes sense why they ended up moving out as quickly as possible. Sasha also explained that once they moved apartments, her night terrors, sleepwalking, and sleep paralysis all stopped, which cannot be a coincidence. In our number 9 spot today, we have this hidden basement. This TikTok comes from the user Unfortunate Existence about something she uncovered in a home she had purchased the year prior. She was pulling back her carpeting when she revealed a hidden trapdoor in the floor. Upon opening it, she came to realize that she had an entire basement that she knew nothing about previously. Apparently, aside from finding the fuse box, which she had previously been unable to locate, the basement findings also included a rocking chair and an old pickle jar. I think it's safe to say that they are much braver than I am because there is no way I could have investigated a secret hidden basement on my own. In our number 8 spot today, we have this secret passageway. The TikToker Freddie Goodall really delivered with this secret room trend in his 500-year-old home. In his video, he showed the world a secret passageway he found hidden behind a bookshelf in his home. The secret passageway ended up leading to a room full of old, torn-up books. Apparently, this large home has a history of once being a boarding school, so it is believed that these remnants might have something to do with that. Freddie made a few more videos of this secret space as well as more hidden gems found in his home, such as some wine storage and tunnels that led to what was once the servants' quarters. It is extremely interesting to see these little hidden parts, but there's also something extremely eerie about it. If you lived in this home and found all of these secrets, I want to know what you would do with them. Let me know down below in the comments. In our number 7 spot today, we have this New York City apartment. This TikTok is kind of the one that really started the secret hidden room trend on the app. Last year, Samantha Hartzell was feeling frustrated in her New York City apartment because she was continuously feeling a freezing cold draft, so she decided to investigate the source of it. It was coming from her bathroom, and after doing some searching, she realized that it was coming from behind her bathroom mirror, and that this mirror was a little too easy to move. When she took the mirror off of the wall, she revealed an entire other room, and of course, like anyone, became worried that someone may be living in that room, but still bravely decided to investigate. After climbing through this hole in the wall, she revealed an entire unoccupied apartment on the other side. It is unclear exactly what this situation is with this apartment, but she most definitely called her landlord immediately after. In our number 6 spot today, we have this hidden safe. This one is a little different on today's list because rather than a mysterious finding, this hidden gem was intentionally placed by this TikToker. Chris Bonomo 2 TikTok where they showed a genius secret hiding place where they store their valuables. This secret safe is hidden in the bathroom behind a piece of molding. After this, they placed a towel rack on top so that the rack can act as a sort of handle to reveal this well-placed secret. While this is extremely cool and honestly a seemingly good idea, my only concern is that now this secret is all over TikTok where anyone can find it. So maybe on second thought, I'll just have to think up my own genius hiding spot for all of my most valuables. In our number 5 spot today, we have this hidden time capsule. Cam, Me, and her husband were doing some renovations on their home when they stumbled upon their secret hidden room that they were blissfully unaware of prior to this. The room was filled with old pictures, and one of the most eerie among them was a photo of a child sitting in a go-kart with a seemingly headless man standing beside him. Cam has said that she really hopes the photo was just some sort of an exposure problem because it really is extremely creepy to see. Aside from the photo, the couple also found a Christmas gift from a past owner that was addressed to the occupant, some postcards, and a 1960s letter addressed to the writer's mom about a family dispute. The whole thing is not only interesting because it really is like a time capsule, but it also makes you wonder what led to this room being closed off and hidden for all of those years, especially with all of that stuff inside. In our number 4 spot today, we have this hidden attic. TikToker Sissy Hankshaw and her partner purchased a home together during the pandemic, but because of everything that was going on, they weren't ever actually able to see the house in person and instead based their decision entirely off of seeing photos of it on the internet. The couple first became suspicious about a possible secret room because they saw some windows on the outside of their home, but realized that they had no access to them from the inside. In the second video in this little TikTok series, they walked into what seemed like a storage space or wardrobe upstairs and revealed that they had found a small square panel that was screwed into the wall. Once they took the panel off, they found the secret room they had been looking for. The secret room was finished with insulation and flooring, and the wall they went through was new, which led to the couple wondering why this attic space had been blocked off like that. While it does seem a little eerie, it would be awesome to purchase a home that had more space than you ever even knew. In our number 3 spot today, we have this hidden bathroom. Mia Bug bought her very first home and immediately took to getting the renovations done prior to her moving in. The seller of the home explained that they had sealed off an area because there was a leaking drain pan. The seller said it was a small fix and not very costly, but they just didn't have the time or energy to do it, so they sealed it instead. Mia had no problem with this and bought the house, but when she went to take down the sealed wall, she realized that this story was not entirely true. Instead, they found a fully tiled bathroom hidden away behind this wall. The reviews to this discovery were mixed, with some people pointing out that it's a strange situation and adds a creepy element that the previous owners lied about it, while others explained that they would be ecstatic to find their home actually had another bathroom that they were unaware about. At the end of the day, it's probably just better to stay on the positive side and not think about all the things that might have led to this being hidden away. In our number 2 spot today, we have this storage cupboard basement. A TikToker named Abby uploaded a TikTok that featured the caption, "I can't believe what we found in our storage cupboard." Well, this storage cupboard revealed a hidden secret passageway to a basement that they had no idea existed. They explained that they decided to investigate because the storage area is where they put their vacuum cleaner, and they always felt like it sounded hollow beneath it. When they went down there was clearly evidence someone had once been down there, with things all over the floor, with some creepy scratched out pop art posters on the wall. Some commenters had theories that the secret basement may have actually been a World War II bunker, while other commenters swear that the opening of the basement must have released some spirits into our world. The whole basement is very creepy looking and is quite literally falling apart, but it could have some potential if they renovated it. In our number 1 spot today, we have this creepy Airbnb. This TikToker was staying at an Airbnb when he began to get some eerie feelings. It started when he first met the owners of the Airbnb and realized that they were surprised that he was a male and not a female. Any female knows what a huge red flag that would be. He goes on to explain that he could hear some strange noises coming from the vent in the middle of the night and also had a feeling that he was being watched. Instead of doing nothing, he decided to investigate. He approached the vent and ended up finding a whole entire room behind it. He explains that he didn't actually catch anyone spying on him or catch anyone actually in the room, but like anyone, the whole thing absolutely freaked him out and was more than enough to keep him on edge. I'm truthfully just hoping that he didn't stay at the Airbnb for any longer and also reported it.